I caught my wife's biggest lie by pure accident, and it destroyed me. Friends, before I tell you this heartbreaking truth, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Stories like mine are painful to share, but if they reach someone going through the same storm, maybe it will help them feel less alone. Your support means everything. A few months ago, my entire world collapsed. I uncovered that the woman I'd trusted for nearly a decade was secretly involved with another man, an older, married man at that. In a single moment, 8 years of love, sacrifice, and dreams were shattered beyond repair. The way I found out wasn't planned. It was pure coincidence. I had wrapped up a work trip a day earlier than expected and thought it would be sweet to surprise her. Instead of calling, I just started driving home. On the way, I stopped for gas at an exit about 15 minutes from our house. Back on the road, traffic slowed to a crawl. At a four-way stop, my eyes wandered, and that's when my heart nearly stopped. I saw her car. The same car she drove to work, turning out from a quiet side street that didn't make sense for her to be in. For a moment, I thought maybe I was mistaken. But no, it was definitely her. My chest tightened, and 1,000 questions flooded my mind. Why here? Why now? We had spoken just hours earlier, and she never mentioned being anywhere near this place. I called her. The phone rang and rang until she finally picked up. Her voice was shaky, like she'd been running or caught off guard. "Hey," she answered, breathless. "What are you doing?" I asked, forcing calm into my voice. She hesitated. "Oh, I was just about to call you." "Where are you?" I pressed. There was another pause. I had to run a quick errand." Her tone was strange, uneasy. Right then, I knew in my gut that my life was never going to be the same early. I told her, "I'm on my way home." She sounded happy to hear that I was coming home and immediately asked when I'd be getting there, giving the impression that she was already at the house. I told her I should be there within minutes. As we talked, I could tell from the background noise that she was driving. "Where are you headed?" I asked casually. There was a slight pause before she answered. "Oh, just going to the store." Something about the hesitation in her voice made my stomach tighten. "Which one?" "The one closest to our house," she said quickly. That was a lie. I could see her car just a few hundred yards ahead of me, merging onto the highway. There was no reason for her to be this far from home if she was just going to the nearby store. In that moment, I knew she was either cheating on me or involved in something illegal. If not, why would she lie? I considered calling her out on the spot, but then I decided to play along. If she was going to lie, I wanted to see just how deep the deception went. "Great," I said smoothly. "I'll meet you there, and then we can go out for dinner." There was a beat of silence before she responded, her voice a little too eager. "That sounds great," I smirked. She hadn't expected that. Then, in the calmest voice I could muster, I added, "I just passed the rest area." That rest area was right behind her. For a split second, nothing happened. Then suddenly, she slammed on the gas, her car surging forward. Within seconds, she had to be going over an hour, tearing down the highway like a bat out of hell. I let out a breath, gripping the wheel tighter. Jesus, she knows I'm onto her. She was running, probably thinking, "Man, I almost got caught." By the time I pulled into the store parking lot, she was already there, standing beside her car. She walked over as I parked, adjusting her clothes, checking her hair and makeup in a compact mirror. She was trying to look casual, but I could see the tension in her shoulders. Inside the store, she turned to me. "I need to use the restroom." I nodded. "Me too." Her face twitched slightly, but she covered it with a smile. I finished up within a few minutes and stepped outside to wait for her. Minutes passed, then to 10 for. Still, she hadn't come out. When she finally emerged from the restroom, I smirked and said, "I was about ready to send in a search party to look for you." She laughed lightly, brushing off my comment. "Sorry, I had to do a number 2. I nodded, pretending to accept her answer, but inside I knew she was lying. The whole time she was in there, I could hear the sink running. She wasn't using the toilet. She was cleaning herself up, probably scrubbing away the stink and sweat from whatever she had been doing with that guy she was just with. We finished our shopping and decided to grab some prepared food from the store instead of going out for dinner. I kept a calm exterior, but my mind was spinning, replaying every suspicious detail over and over. When we got home and sat down to eat, I casually asked, "So, how was your day?" She didn't even hesitate. "Nothing remarkable," she said, taking a bite of her food. "Just went to work and came straight home." "Straight home?" "Right." My grip tightened on my fork. Every new lie that came out of her mouth made my blood boil, but I forced myself to stay composed. If I confronted her without undeniable proof, she'd just gaslight me, twist things around, and make me feel like I was crazy. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. I couldn't sleep. Meanwhile, she was out cold, breathing evenly like she didn't have a care in the world. It amazed me how easily she could do that. You'd think she'd be a nervous wreck, worried about getting caught. But no, she was perfectly at ease while I was left tossing and turning, trying to make sense of it all. The next evening, while she was preparing dinner, I decided to check her phone. Nothing. No suspicious texts, no unusual calls. I went online and checked our cell phone and credit card bills. Again, nothing out of the ordinary. For a brief moment, I felt a wave of relief. Maybe I had been wrong. Maybe I had let my imagination run wild. But then the nagging feeling returned. Just because I couldn't find anything didn't mean she wasn't cheating. It just meant she was good at hiding it. By that point, I was getting antsy. I needed more proof, and I was going to get it. I decided to continue investigating. Looking back now, I know I did the right thing, but at the time, it was agonizing, holding everything together and pretending like nothing was wrong. A week or so went by, and everything was business as usual. I played my part, smiled when I needed to, acted like the same loving husband I had always been. But inside, I was a mess, watching, waiting, knowing something was bound to happen again. Then one afternoon, she called me while I was at work. "Hey, babe," she said, her voice light and casual. "Just wanted to let you know I have to work a little late tonight. It's our monthly close and things are a bit backed up." I leaned back in my chair, gripping my phone a little tighter. "Oh, yeah. How late do you think?" "Not sure. Maybe an hour or two. I'll text you when I'm heading home." I forced myself to sound normal. "All right, sounds good. Don't work too hard." We said our goodbyes and I hung up, staring at my phone for a long moment. Something about her tone didn't sit right with me. Sure, she had to work late on occasion, but I felt it this time. My gut was screaming at me. This wasn't work. This was something else. I thought back to where I had seen her the previous week. On that street. I had no business seeing her in. That's where she was going. I knew it. So that afternoon, I left work a little early. I drove over there, arriving around, and made a couple of slow passes down the street. Nothing. I didn't see her car. I didn't want to be too obvious, so I pulled out and parked at the McDonald's near the main intersection, keeping a close eye on the road. Sure enough, at about there she was, her car rolling up to the light, then making that familiar turn down that street. I sat there, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. I gave it minutes, long enough for her to get comfortable. Then I drove down the street myself, and there it was. Her car parked neatly in the driveway of one of the houses, right beside a brand new Ram pickup truck. I stared at the house, my heart pounding, my hands clenched into fists, and for a second, I wanted nothing more than to get out of my car, march up to that front door and bang on it until someone answered, to see the look on her face. To see the face of the man she was betraying me with, but I didn't. Something deep inside told me to stop. Instead, I reached for my phone, took a few pictures of her car sitting in that driveway, and then I left. I drove home, my mind racing, knowing that my suspicions weren't just suspicions anymore. I had my proof. When I got home, I immediately looked up the address I had just seen her car parked at. I needed to know exactly who this guy was. A quick search pulled up the homeowner's name, and my stomach twisted when I saw the results. He wasn't some random nobody. He was the co-owner of a company that did business with her company. So, she wasn't just sneaking around with some stranger. She was mixing it up with a customer. Digging a little deeper, I found more. According to various records, he was either or years old and had been living at that address since Marshlising. A little more searching, and I confirmed he was divorced with 2 college-age kids. Perfect. A middle-aged businessman with nothing to lose. Preying on a married woman who clearly had no problem stepping out on her husband. Later that evening, she came home all smiles, carrying bags of takeout from my favorite Chinese place. My favorite place. Like that was supposed to distract me. "Hey, babe," she said cheerfully, walking over to me, her eyes full of warmth like nothing was wrong. She leaned in for a kiss, but I turned slightly, giving her a half-hearted air kiss. That wasn't enough for her. She grabbed my chin and playfully pouted. None of that," she teased. "Give me a real one." I nearly recoiled. There was no way in hell I was putting my lips anywhere near hers after where she had just been, but I forced myself to comply, pressing a quick, cold kiss against her lips before pulling away. We sat down to eat, and I tried my best to act normal, while every bite I swallowed felt like poison. My mind was still racing, thinking about my next move. "I have to go out to a customer location tomorrow," I said casually between bites. "I won't be home until the evening." She perked up at that, her eyes immediately narrowing with interest. "Oh, yeah. Where are you going?" "Couple of towns over," I said, keeping it vague. "What time are you leaving?" she asked, trying to sound nonchalant. "Early," I said. "Probably won't be back until later." I could see the gears turning in her head. She was gathering details, planning her next move. She thought she was slick, but I saw right through her. She smiled sweetly. "Well, don't stop to get anything on your way home. I'll have dinner waiting for you." The thought of that made my stomach churn. Dinner? After she spent her day with him, cooking for me like some devoted wife. It was sickening. But that dinner wasn't going to happen because I had other plans in store for her. Of course, I had no actual customer visits planned that day. The only visit I planned was to her drill partner's house. If I found her car parked there again, I was done. No more waiting, no more doubts. I would call her out right then and there, then move out without telling her where I was going. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, things played out exactly as I expected. I drove over in the afternoon, and sure enough, there it was, her car parked in the same damn spot, just like the day before. My stomach clenched, but there was no shock this time, just confirmation. I didn't hesitate. I drove straight home, made a hotel reservation, and started packing my clothes. Every fold of fabric, every zipper closing my suitcase felt like sealing the door shut on this marriage. I wasn't even sad, just done. Once I had everything in order, I grabbed my phone and called her. To my surprise, she picked up immediately, her voice bright and cheerful, like she was so happy to hear from me. "Hey, babe," she chirped. "What's up?" I clenched my jaw. "What are you doing?" "Oh, just sitting in a conference room working on a spreadsheet," she said casually, like she wasn't lying straight to my face. "Yeah, you were spreading something, but it sure as hell wasn't numbers on a spreadsheet." "You're lying," I said flatly. A pause. "What?" "I know where you are. I know who you're with, and I know exactly what you're doing," I said, my voice calm but ice cold. "You're either screwing him right now or just finished screwing him just like you did yesterday, just like you did last week." Silence. She didn't even try to deny it. Not a single no. "I swear it's not like that. Nothing. I'm done with you," I continued, "and I won't be home when you get there." Still no response, just silence on the other end. I let that sink in for a second, then called her a few choice words. Words I had held back for too damn long, and hung up. I sat back, exhaled, and waited. Minutes passed. Then my phone started buzzing. Calls, texts over and over. She was in full panic mode now. And I knew exactly why it took her minutes to start, because the second I hung up, she turned around wide-eyed and told her affair by a partner. Oh my God, my husband knows about us. And for the past minutes, she's been scrambling, thinking, panicking, spinning excuses, trying to figure out how to save herself. Now she's ready to talk. During the next hours, my phone never stopped buzzing. She must have left me voicemails and sent over 100 text messages. I should have blocked her, but a part of me wanted to see just how desperate she'd get. At first, her messages were full of denial. It's not what it looks like. I can explain, as if there was any explanation that could justify this, as if I hadn't seen her car parked in that driveway twice. When I didn't respond, she shifted tactics. The denial faded, replaced by crying. I'm so sorry, Frank. Please just talk to me. Then came the full-blown hysteria. Hours and hours of texts and voicemails of her sobbing, begging for forgiveness. Isn't that how it always goes? They don't care when they're sneaking around, but the second they're caught, they turn into a damn disaster. That night, after checking into the hotel, I stopped by the bar to take the edge off. I hadn't eaten much, so the alcohol hit me fast, numbing the rage just enough. When I got back to my room, I did what I needed to do. I called our parents and laid it all out. I was feeling loose from the drinks, so I didn't hold anything back. I told them everything, every disgusting detail. My mom gasped. Frank? No, she wouldn't. She did. I cut in my voice flat. She's been screwing some guy in his S, a customer of her company. I caught her. Silence. Then my dad, always the steady one, cleared his throat. Son, are you sure? I let out a bitter laugh. Dad, I saw her car at his house twice. She lied straight to my face while she was in his house. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it. What else do you need? My mom's voice broke. I thought you two were happy. I stared at the hotel ceiling, feeling nothing. Yeah, so did I. They were horrified, shocked, just like me. They had believed we had a perfect marriage. But that was just an illusion, wasn't it? Over the next few months, I stayed in hotels while working through the divorce. I avoided all contact with her. No calls, no messages. No one except my parents knew where I was. I didn't trust anyone else not to tell her. Everyone was on my side, except for her closest friends, of course. But even my friends, my family, they all kept saying the same thing. You should at least meet with her. Let her explain. Give her a chance to apologize to you in person. From the messages she'd been leaving me and the reports I was getting from mutual friends, I knew she wasn't handling things well. It wasn't surprising. She had gone from sneaking around behind my back to full-blown panic the moment she realized I wasn't coming back. But instead of letting her deal with the consequences of her own actions, her friends decided to make it my problem. At first, it was just pressure, pleading texts, long-winded voicemails from people I barely knew, all saying the same thing. Just talk to her, Frank. She's not doing well. At least let her explain. Then her older sister jumped in, and that's when things got nasty. One evening, my phone rang and I answered without thinking. Big mistake, Frank. What the hell is wrong with you? Her sister's voice was sharp, angry. She's falling apart and you don't even care. I closed my eyes, already exhausted. This isn't my problem. She's not eating. She's not sleeping. God, Frank, she loved you. She made a mistake and you're just throwing everything away like it meant nothing. I clenched my jaw. It did mean something. That's why I'm not tolerating this. She threw it away the second she climbed into bed with someone else. Her sister scoffed. So, you're just going to ignore her. What if something happens to her? What if she hesitated, then spat out the words. If she does something drastic, that's on you. That was it. That was the line. I took a deep breath. Let me be very clear. Her choices are not my responsibility. She made this mess, not me. And if you or anyone else tries to guilt me into taking her back, you can forget my number. Then I hung up and blocked her. The next day, I found out she and her friends have been running their mouths to everyone about how cold and heartless I was. And then came the real gut punch. Her parents turned on me too. That one stung. We had always been close. Her dad and I would grab beers together. Her mom would tell me I was like the son they never had. I thought they loved me like family. But apparently, when it came down to it, blood was thicker than a nigh-year marriage. Her mom called me, her voice tight with disappointment. "Frank, can't you just talk to her?" "No," I said simply. She sighed. "You were like a son to us, and now you're just giving up." I let out a bitter laugh. Giving up. She's the one who cheated, remember? She made a mistake. Her mom insisted. People work through these things all the time. Well, I'm not one of those people. That was the last conversation I had with them. They made their choice, and I made mine. Thankfully, my own family and close friends stood by me through it all. They were the ones who reminded me that I wasn't crazy, that I did the right thing, no matter how much her side tried to guilt trip me. I stayed no contact and let my attorney handle everything. My wife fought the divorce hard, offering me anything I wanted to stay married, but I was done. When she finally realized that there was nothing she could say or do to change my mind, she gave in and signed the papers. After that, things moved quickly. Last month, the divorce was finalized. Clean break. No lingering ties. I won't pretend I was some tough guy through the whole thing. Years is a long time to spend with someone. There were plenty of sleepless nights, moments when the weight of it all nearly broke me. But I pushed through and now I'm free. That should have been the end of it. But she still thinks there's a chance we'll get back together one day. She keeps saying we're meant to be together. That fate will reunite us, just like it brought us together in the first place. I can tell you with percent certainty that will never happen. She still texts me 3 to 4 times a week, updating me on her life, telling me how much she misses me, and apologizing over and over again. I probably should have blocked her by now, but honestly, I kind of enjoy hearing about how miserable she is. Maybe that makes me petty, but after everything she put me through, I think I'm entitled to a little shot in Freude. As for her drill partner, well, I can't say too much about that right now. Let's just say my attorney and his attorney are working on something, and I'll leave it at that. You can fill in the blanks. Now get this. She told me that he meant nothing to her, that she cut all contact with him. But you know what? I don't care. It doesn't matter if he was just a meaningless fling or the love of her life. The fact is, she betrayed me, and there's no coming back from that. Months later, her drill partner handed me to drop the case. Well, I took the money. No sense dragging things out when I had already won in every way that mattered. I was now free of a cheating wife. And better still, I got paid for it. Some people might call it hush money, but I call it compensation for my wasted years. A few weeks ago, I got a call from an unknown number. I don't usually answer those, but something told me to pick up. "Frank, it's Linda." Her mother's voice came through, shaky and uncertain. I almost hung up right then, but I waited. I knew why she was calling. She collapsed at home. They found her on the floor. Partner. Oh my God, my husband knows about us. And for the past minutes, she's been scrambling, thinking, panicking, spinning excuses, trying to figure out how to save herself. Now she's ready to talk. During the next hours, my phone never stopped buzzing. She must have left me voicemails and sent over 100 text messages. I should have blocked her, but a part of me wanted to see just how desperate she'd get. At first, her messages were full of denial. It's not what it looks like. I can explain. As if there was any explanation that could justify this, as if I hadn't seen her car parked in that driveway twice. When I didn't respond, she shifted tactics. The denial faded, replaced by crying. "I'm so sorry, Frank. Please just talk to me." Then came the full-blown hysteria. Hours and hours of texts and voicemails of her sobbing, begging for forgiveness. Isn't that how it always goes? They don't care when they're sneaking around, but the second they're caught, they turn into a damn disaster. That night, after checking into the hotel, I stopped by the bar to take the edge off. I hadn't eaten much, so the alcohol hit me fast, numbing the rage just enough. When I got back to my room, I did what I needed to do. I called our parents and laid it all out. I was feeling loose from the drinks, so I didn't hold anything back. I told them everything, every disgusting detail. My mom gasped. "Frank, no, she wouldn't." She did. I cut in my voice flat. "She's been screwing some guy in his S, a customer of her company." I caught her. Silence. Then my dad, always the steady one, cleared his throat. "Son, are you sure?" I let out a bitter laugh. "Dad, I saw her car at his house twice. She lied straight to my face while she was in his house. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it. What else do you need?" My mom's voice broke. "I thought you two were happy." I stared at the hotel ceiling, feeling nothing. Yeah, so did I. They were horrified, shocked, just like me. They had believed we had a perfect marriage. But that was just an illusion, wasn't it? Over the next few months, I stayed in hotels while working through the divorce. I avoided all contact with her. No calls, no messages. No one except my parents knew where I was. I didn't trust anyone else not to tell her. Everyone was on my side except for her closest friends, of course. But even my friends, my family, they all kept saying the same thing. "You should at least meet with her. Let her explain. Give her a chance to apologize to you in person." From the messages she'd been leaving me and the reports I was getting from mutual friends, I knew she wasn't handling things well. It wasn't surprising. She had gone from sneaking around behind my back to full-blown panic the moment she realized I wasn't coming back. But instead of letting her deal with the consequences of her own actions, her friends decided to make it my problem. At first, it was just pressure, pleading texts, long-winded voicemails from people I barely knew, all saying the same thing. "Just talk to her, Frank. She's not doing well. At least let her explain." Then her older sister jumped in, and that's when things got nasty. One evening, my phone rang, and I answered without thinking. "Big mistake, Frank. What the hell is wrong with you?" Her sister's voice was sharp, angry. "She's falling apart, and you don't even care." I closed my eyes, already exhausted. This isn't my problem. She's not eating. She's not sleeping. God, Frank, she loved you. She made a mistake, and you're just throwing everything away like it meant nothing. I clenched my jaw. It did mean something. That's why I'm not tolerating this. She threw it away the second she climbed into bed with someone else. Her sister scoffed. "So you're just going to ignore her? What if something happens to her? What if she..." She hesitated, then spat out the words. "If she does something drastic, that's on you." That was it. That was the line. I took a deep breath. Let me be very clear. Her choices are not my responsibility. She made this mess, not me. And if you or anyone else tries to guilt me into taking her back, you can forget my number. Then I hung up and blocked her. The next day, I found out she and her friends have been running their mouths to everyone about how cold and heartless I was. And then came the real gut punch. Her parents turned on me too. That one stung. We had always been close. Her dad and I would grab beers together. Her mom would tell me I was like the son they never had. I thought they loved me like family. But apparently, when it came down to it, blood was thicker than a 9-year marriage. Her mom called me, her voice tight with disappointment. "Frank, can't you just talk to her?" "No," I said simply. She sighed. "You were like a son to us, and now you're just giving up." I let out a bitter laugh. Giving up? She's the one who cheated, remember? She made a mistake. Her mom insisted. People work through these things all the time. Well, I'm not one of those people. That was the last conversation I had with them. They made their choice, and I made mine. Thankfully, my own family and close friends stood by me through it all. They were the ones who reminded me that I wasn't crazy, that I did the right thing, no matter how much her side tried to guilt trip me. I stayed no contact and let my attorney handle everything. My wife fought the divorce hard, offering me anything I wanted to stay married, but I was done. When she finally realized that there was nothing she could say or do to change my mind, she gave in and signed the papers. After that, things moved quickly. Last month, the divorce was finalized. Clean break, no lingering ties. I won't pretend I was some tough guy through the whole thing. Years is a long time to spend with someone. There were plenty of sleepless nights, moments when the weight of it all nearly broke me. But I pushed through, and now I'm free. That should have been the end of it. But she still thinks there's a chance we'll get back together one day. She keeps saying we're meant to be together. That fate will reunite us, just like it brought us together in the first place. I can tell you with percent certainty that will never happen. She still texts me 3 to 4 times a week, updating me on her life, telling me how much she misses me, and apologizing over and over again. I probably should have blocked her by now, but honestly, I kind of enjoy hearing about how miserable she is. Maybe that makes me petty, but after everything she put me through, I think I'm entitled to a little shot in Freude. As for her drill partner, well, I can't say too much about that right now. Let's just say my attorney and his attorney are working on something, and I'll leave it at that. You can fill in the blanks. Now, get this. She told me that he meant nothing to her, that she cut all contact with him. But you know what? I don't care. It doesn't matter if he was just a meaningless fling or the love of her life. The fact is, she betrayed me, and there's no coming back from that. Months later, her drill partner handed me to drop the case. Well, I took the money. No sense dragging things out when I had already won in every way that mattered. I was now free of a cheating wife. And better still, I got paid for it. Some people might call it hush money, but I call it compensation for my wasted years. A few weeks ago, I got a call from an unknown number. I don't usually answer those, but something told me to pick up. Frank, it's Linda. Her mother's voice came through, shaky and uncertain. I almost hung up right then, but I waited. I knew why she was calling. She collapsed at home. They found her on the floor. She wasn't eating, wasn't sleeping. The doctors say it's severe depression. They put her in a rehab facility. I didn't say anything. What was I supposed to say? That I felt sorry for her? That I'd come running back to save her from the mess she made? Linda sniffled on the other end. Frank, please, if you just talk to her. No. My voice was firm, cold. She's not my problem anymore. She's sick, Frank. She needs help. I cut her off. She needed to think about that before she spread her legs for another man. I owe her nothing. Silence. Then in a small, defeated voice, she whispered, "She still loves you." I let out a bitter laugh. She loved me so much, she screwed another man in the middle of the day. No, Linda. She loved the life I gave her, the stability, the comfort. But me, if she really loved me, she wouldn't have destroyed everything we built. Frank, don't call me again. And I hung up. I knew then that as long as I stayed in this city, they'd always keep coming after me. With that money, I bought a small farmland out in the countryside, a place far from the noise and the memories. I got myself a few animals, chickens, goats, even a couple of horses. I traded in the stress of corporate life for the peace of wide open fields and early morning sunrises. I left my job for good. No more meetings, no more deadlines, no more dealing with people I didn't want to deal with. Out here, it's just me, the land, and the animals. I wake up with the sun, work with my hands, and breathe in the fresh air. For the first time in a long time, I feel good, not just emotionally, but physically and mentally.